10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Yes, everybody, it's Wednesday, the 2nd of March. And I think, I'm in a bit of a good mood this morning because I might be going away somewhere, but I'm here with this last live stream anyway, for a week before I head off to Las Vegas. And I never, ever come home. I'm coming home. I'm joking about that. We've got City on Sunday. We're here to talk about Manchester United's search for a new manager this morning. After updates from John Murtough, Richard Arnold, an interesting conversation with Darren Fletcher, actually, about what his role is, because that's quite an interesting one. So many people are like, what does Fletcher do? What is the point of a Fletcher? So we'll discuss that this morning. Going to take a look at what else we got. Got some stats. We got some. We've got to talk about the player of the month. We're going to talk about the under-19s last night that played Dortmund in the UEFA Youth League. It's going to be a good show this morning, and I'm looking forward to having a chat to you before I do fly away. Good morning to you, Anuj. Good morning to you, Anthony, Paul, Craig, Josh, Salim, Jason, T. There's plenty of you down there in the comments. Good morning to all of you. Hey, how are you all doing? How are you all feeling? Obviously, we've got the game against City at the weekend. I'm going to be having my predicted starting 11 for that. That's recorded. That's going to go out on Friday. I've also got a video on Haaland, actually. A little teaser for you there. I've got a video on Haaland that will probably go out tomorrow, I think. I've got a video today going out on Rio and Maguire. I'll be honest, I've been pretty busy because as much as I'm going to be going away for a few days, I don't want the content to stop. So I've got plenty of stuff all bagged in. Good morning to you, Sebastian, on Facebook, to Craig Williams. Good morning to you, Jason Wilson on YouTube. Good morning. And good morning to you, my friend. Hey, how are you all doing, eh? We're here to talk about, first and foremost, about our search for a new manager. Oh, look at that. Suggestion from Sashi. Mesa Grill at Caesar's Palace. Spanish pork tenderloins. You're welcome. Okay, I'll try and note that one down. I'm going to be on Instagram. I've said this to you before. I'll say it to you again. I'm going to be doing some content over on Instagram. More informal type stuff. I'm trying to build the Instagram account up because I've never really focused on it before. The link is in the description there. So if you want to follow anything that I go up to in Vegas, the only place that's going to exist is on Instagram. So follow it on there. I'm also going to do a post later. So if anybody does have some suggestions on things to do out there, you can reply to that because I'll take your suggestions on board. Never been there before. Looking forward to it. But hey, we're not here to talk about my holiday. We're here to talk about John Murtough. We're here to talk about Erik ten Hag, Mauricio Pochettino. Now, yesterday, John Murtough was speaking. I think it was with the financial results, the Q1 result. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure what Q it was. Anyway, the latest financial results for Manchester United. Richard Arnold was speaking there as well. Darren Fletcher had a little conversation yesterday too. So let's run through the conversations and the talking points that were raised in those meetings. Let's run through it. That's what we're here for, baby. So this is what John Murtough said yesterday about our search for a new manager. He said, we are now conducting a thorough process for the appointment of a new permanent manager who will take charge this summer with the objective to get us back to challenging for those domestic and European titles. It's something that we already knew, but I'll tell you that the big buzzword here, I would say, with this whole process is that word. Manchester United are not going to be appointing this next manager off the back of a recommendation, off the back of a hunch, off the back of anything. It's clear we're going to be doing a thorough process. And I personally do not think that is a bad thing. I still think we'll get to the same conclusion of Erik ten Hag. That's what my gut is telling me. I think even on from a surface level, you look at Ten Hag and you say, yeah, Ten Hag's the right person. I think if you do and you go in a bit more depth, I still think you get to Ten Hag. Because look, when we take a look here at why would Manchester United use that buzzword thorough, this is why we would use the word thorough. Because look, we went from Fergie. Jesus. This man, when you look at how long he was there for, 27 years, incredible. Fergie, what happened? He basically went upstairs and said, you know what, lads? Don't worry about it. I knew I can't do a Scottish one either. Don't worry, lads. I've got it. It's David Moyes. He's your new man. He just basically went upstairs and he said, look, you don't need to do a process of anything. I know who your next manager should be, David Moyes. And given the fact that Fergie was there for 27 years and he had the right to make that, to have that power and that decision. I think so anyway. It was the wrong one, of course it was. But after that, Moyes came in as a caretaker for a little while, and then Louis van Gaal went in. Manchester United we panicked, and then we went and we got Louis van Gaal. The complete opposite, really, to David Moyes. Somebody's really experienced, more of a teacher type vibe. But again, Louis van Gaal did not work. So what happened after both of those? Manchester United decided, right, okay, we may as well just go back on the United way and anything like that. And they went to Jose Mourinho. And again, that wasn't, in my opinion, done with any sort of thorough process in any way, shape, or form. It was at that point after Moyes and Van Gaal, it was Mourinho or nothing, really. And then the exact same thing happened after Mourinho, because after Mourinho, Van Gaal, Moyes, the club panicked. And they said, the only thing we can do now is bring in someone close to home. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They tried everything else. And then, of course, we had Carrick, and now we've got Rangnick in. And probably the only person who's come in with any sort of process is Ralph Rangnick. You can maybe say that there was a process with Louis van Gaal, but I don't really think there was. Not massively. And I don't think there was a huge amount of process with Rangnick because of the pressures of bringing a manager in as an interim manager during the season. So Carrick was there for 3 games, and in that time, we got Ralph Rangnick in. I think this is why I understand that concept there. Thorough process. In my opinion, that thorough process would involve 2 main men, of course, Mauricio Pochettino and Erik ten Hag. And something that I saw yesterday, which I thought was quite a prevalent point to raise about the whole Pochettino and ten Hag situation, was the concept of mystery. And by that, I mean, we all know, and we've all watched, and we've all seen the ups and downs of Pochettino's career. And we know full well what his flaws and his weaknesses are because we've had more first-hand experience of watching it. With Erik ten Hag, he's that beautiful baldy from Holland who we don't really know how good or bad he is, but we can see how good he is. So that element of mystery certainly probably gives a bit more credence to the Ten Hag over Poch situation. That's what I mean. On a surface level, when you look at it like that, then Ten Hag's the winner. But I think even if you focus on that buzzword there and you go for the buzzword of being a thorough process, I still personally think you get to the same conclusion. That Ten Hag would be the better choice for Manchester United, who are on the rise. That's what the intention is to get us on the rise, on the up. I want to experience the growth curve of Erik ten Hag as a manager whilst he is Manchester United's manager. I don't want to see that growth curve at another club. And maybe a little bit of FOMO is kicking in here as well. Fear of missing out. And I have a big fear, absolutely big fear of Ten Hag going to a different club, Man City, replacing Guardiola, and it completely working out for them. Yeah, that scares the crap out of me. I don't want to see that. So there's a couple of things there that maybe are making, as I said, on the surface, making Ten Hag look maybe more appealing than he is. But I think even if you dig down into the details, I still think you get to the same conclusion, unless you're going to try and go for the complete safe point of view. But this isn't a managerial appointment that Manchester United can afford to be safe with. This is a managerial appointment that Manchester United have to be correct with. And maybe, sometimes in life, taking a risk is the correct thing to do. It's not the safe thing to do, but it's the correct thing to do. And that's, I'm scared. I'm still dead scared about the fact that Pochettino keeps getting labelled as the favourite for the job. What's your opinion on that? You let me know in the comments below. I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments down here. Yeah, it still scares me, the idea that Poch is like the clear favourite for this job because of his links back to United, 2016, 2019. Fergie met him previously. He was going to be the bloke. He was a manager, then he wasn't the manager, X, Y, Z. There's a lot more history. As I said, the way I always describe it is this Manchester United going into like a cabinet at work and just dusting off the Pochettino 2016 folder and bringing that back out. No, not for me. Nick, you disagree down there. You want Pochettino. Times you're saying, in my opinion, it will be Poch still. Robert, what are you asking here? Sam, not you, go for Ten Hag. How much time do you give him and how much of a budget do you give him? He's my choice. With Ten Hag and with Poch, really, with this next manager, it's not really This truly is the time to back a manager. Truly, truly, truly is the time to back a manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when it comes to how much time he got, how much we backed him with, X, Y, Z, we all knew deep down. I said it right away, straight away. You can get one of my early videos after Solskjaer came in. And I felt that Solskjaer wasn't the man to help us win the Premier League again, but was the man I felt to help us sort of reaffirm a few parts of our identity, to reaffirm a few established foundations, and to leave us in a better position going forward. And I think the squad was in a better position when he did leave. I know there's a lot of discontent, there's a lot of murmurings, and I'm not saying it's a completely unified squad and a perfect squad, but I think Solskjaer left the club in a better condition than when he found it. So in that sense, he did his job. But this next managerial appointment is coming into a club where I would say that squad is, yeah, man, we all felt that squad was one midfielder away from challenging for the Premier League, right? One midfielder away. Look at us now. So whoever this manager comes in, it's not a case of they're in a huge transition. They're coming in with expectancy now. This next manager has to take Manchester United back up towards that challenging position. That's what Ten Hag or Poch or Enrique or Lopetegui or whoever it is, that's their job. Genuinely get United competing against Liverpool and against City in the league again. And that's a bit of a different, it's just a different ball game to what Solskjaer came into. It's what we all expected in the third season of Mourinho, and we didn't get because he wasn't backed. Bad, isn't it? Bear in mind, by the way, Mourinho wanted Maguire too. Random thought there. Oh, how you doing, buddy? Club needs to be realistic and realise we won't be winning straight away. We are so far behind City and the Scousers. Hopefully, Ralph will be in control. Yeah, a little dose of reality there from all, and he's not wrong at all. Manchester United, we're still some way off there. We all thought that we were one midfielder short, but I think we're a little bit further away than that. We know that. So the first season isn't truly about can we compete for the Premier League title? Can we compete for the Champions League? If we're in the Champions League, of course. But I would expect Manchester United under this next manager who comes in to start eliminating the sorts of results and performances that we saw against Burnley, that we saw against Southampton, that we saw against Watford. Eliminating them has to be an absolute foundation of anything going forward. Rarely do they happen under Liverpool and City. They do, of course they do. They're not flawless, but rarely. Whereas so regularly under Manchester United in these games, it's a 38-game season. You only play City twice a year. You only play Liverpool twice a year. That's 4 out of 38 games against the top 2 teams. 34 games. That's where the league is won or lost. Ultimately, if you're close enough, then those games against your rivals, they're huge. And those sort of significant games, we haven't had many of them in a while, have we? But ultimately, it's those 34 games where the league is won or lost. And United have just been so inconsistent for such a long time. So I think that's probably the main focus of whoever comes in, whether it's Poch, whether it's Ten Hag, whether it's anybody else. It's not about challenging completely for the title next year. If we're managing realistic expectations, right? The ideal situation is you do, but I think that will be an overachievement rather than an expectation. So hopefully we overachieve whoever comes in. But the realistic expectation is, for me, is to cut those crap results out, to get United, to get Old Trafford back to being a fortress, to beat in your promoted teams 3 or 4-0 comfortably. Nice day's work. To be a really competitive side. And I'm sure there will be games that we lose. Of course they are. Of course there will. No game wins 38. No team wins 38 games a season. But we just have to keep that level of competitiveness and that competitive edge back into, because it's up and down. It goes from game to game, inside a game, from the first half to the second half. There's so much inconsistency in the team. And yeah, I personally don't think that challenging completely for the title is the main focus next year. But it's certainly got to lay all the groundwork so that what happens in that first year, the second year, we absolutely have to challenge in there. Ryan, you're saying Poch is definitely not the man for the job. I mean, I think I've said this all along, in the idea that I don't personally want Poch. Am I going to be upset? Am I going to throw toys out the pram if we do get Poch in? No, I won't. I won't be at all. But do I think that Ten Hag will be a better fit? Yes, I do. Philip, you're going down there with an interesting comment. I think it should be a 2-horse race between Ten Hag and Ralph. Well, ladies and gents, what do you think about that? Oh, Pritam, you seem to agree with them. You're saying spot on. You let me know what you think about that in the comments. I personally, Philip, I don't think Ten Hag should be considered for the job because I see too much importance in Ten Hag going upstairs. Sorry, not Ten Hag, Ralph. Jesus, got myself all mixed up there. I think Ten Hag should be the one. But when it comes to Ralph, I don't think Ralph should be one of the candidates at all for the job because I think there's going to be there's so much good that Ralph can do going upstairs. I spoke about it in a little bit of depth yesterday. You know me on United People's TV. I like doing those more in-depth videos, and I will do more of those as the season progresses. But Ralph is our revolutionary. Ralph is our Che Guevara is probably a bad comparison, but Ralph is our liberator. Ralph is the man who's going to go in there, break up the status quo, change the power structure, really empower the footballing decisions inside the football structure at Manchester United. And I can't see anybody better as him for doing that role and doing that job. Because look, if we go over here and we see some more comments from John Murtough on what's coming up next, I suppose they're quite interesting here. And Carl, thank you very much. So you're saying that was a brilliant video on Ralph. Yeah, I actually forgot I did that video. I did a video a couple of days ago on the Ralph Rangnick situation. I said, look, we need to talk about Ralph Rangnick and Man United's problems. And I made it very clear in that video. My opinion on Ralph is pretty damn strong. I'll be completely honest. The reason I was so excited about Ralph Rangnick coming in as manager of Manchester United was not because I was buzzing my tits off to see a gegenpressing system and the godfather of pressing football coming into our club and we were going to become Liverpool V2. It wasn't that at all. I mean, it would have been nice, and it is nice. Our football's definitely improved. But for me, the excitement of Ralph coming in was because I knew he was moving upstairs after 6 months. It was the first time in a long time that I thought, you know what? My club actually might have a long-term plan. We might be working towards something with an actual vision. Rather than moving season to season like a game of Football Manager, not knowing what's coming around the corner next, I thought, and I still think, that Ralph was the man to make that happen, right? And that's why I was so excited. That's why I still remain so excited about Ralph Rangnick as manager. And I don't personally think the idea or the conversation about him being our manager should happen at all. It's not because I think he would be terrible at it. I think he would actually be quite good at it. But I also think he is our man. He's our grenade to throw in to the boardroom. We need him up there more than we need him as our manager, especially when someone like Erik Ten Hag is available. Hollis, you're here at Glazers mood. Another rebuild. Screw that. Glazers out. This isn't conversations about a rebuild. Is the wrong word to use here. This isn't about the transition and the process and X, Y, Z. This is more a restructure than a rebuild. The club doesn't need to be rebuilt now. It needs to be built again. It needs to be rebuilt in the modern way, but that can only happen with a true restructure. And that, for me, is why Ralph's position moving into that side of the business, I just call Man United a business because we are a business now. That's what the football club is. We're all football fans, but they see it as a business first and foremost. And we need to change that power structure, right? So it's not really conversations about how much money is the next manager going to get, who's the right. It's about changing the status quo at United. That's the key thing that we have to focus on. That's what I will always focus on. But look, there's a couple more comments here from Murtough from yesterday, and also we're going to run through comments from Richard Arnold and Darren Fletcher. Lots to talk about here this morning. So make sure you please drop a like on the video because, as I said, I'm going to be off for a week after this. I won't be back until next Wednesday. A week today, we'll be back with the live streams here in the studio. But make sure you follow me on Instagram. As I said, I left the link in the description. Not in the description, in the comments. Let's run through what else John Murtough said. Some of this is guff, of course it is. He goes, we know that consistency is key as we strive for a top 4 finish this season. I want to reiterate that this is not the ultimate objective for United, and everyone at the club is focused on challenging for the top trophies. Okay. Moving on. John Murtough. While there is potential for further improvement and progress, we do feel that we now have the right structures in place across our teams to support long-term success, and we will continue working relentlessly and investing to achieve that. Now, this is this is a bit lip service. these last couple of comments, certainly a bit of lip service to Manchester United fans in terms of what we want, what we need to do, X, Y, Z. But no, we do need long-term planning. We do need the right structures in place. And I do think, do I think that John Murtough has been incredible in doing his job? No, not really. But at the same time, how much do I actually know about what John Murtough is truly doing? Not much. The position of that, it's supposed to be behind closed doors. It's not really for public viewing. So we don't know how good he is being and what changes he's instigating. But we will be able to see it once Ralph Rangnick moves upstairs, because we know what role he's going into. He's going in there to be a consultant. Will he be consulted? Will he be listened to? Will he have any power? Will Richard Arnold truly delegate as he keeps saying he will? We go over here to see a Richard Arnold comment, which is exactly about that. We have a clear vision and we are implementing a strategy to win with an empowered leadership team to drive that forward, fostering a culture of excellence through a world-class football environment. Now, a lot of that is just corporate bullshit, right? As Paul says down here, talk is cheap, actions speak louder. And when it comes to corporate language, that Richard Arnold comment there is about that, is pure corporate language. But the empowered leadership team, I know it's corporate language, but that's what we need. That's what we don't have. We don't have a footballing side of Manchester United in terms of powerful individuals that actually have true power. Because Ed Woodward was the man at the helm of all of that. We just let like a tyrannical accountant with a small man syndrome just do whatever he wanted. Do whatever he wanted to do, not what the club needed to do, whatever he wanted to do. If he woke up and wanted to sign Falcao, he'd fucking go and sign Falcao. Wouldn't mind if it was the best. It was all about Ed Woodward. Narcissistic, individualistic maniac who should not have been allowed as much control of our club as he was, but he was, because he was the Glazers' puppet. So both of them are equally as guilty. The gun is smoking on both sides there. But Ed Woodward's gone. And I know full well that we can all sit here and have a massively, massively cynical view on it. And I do have a cynical view on it. The Glazers have forced me into that situation as a fan. But I'm also sort of glass half full with this one, because I want it to be half full. I want Richard Arnold to be telling the truth there when he's speaking about an empowered leadership team, and the fact that maybe there will be delegation and that John Murtough and Ralph Rangnick will be getting actual power inside that structure. Because if that happens, ladies and gents, that is the single most significant thing that we could ever have hoped for as a United fan base. That is a big step towards Man United moving back to being a football club. That's the way the modern things work. City have got that structure in. Look at the success that they've had. Liverpool have got that structure in. Look at the success that they've had. United are heading towards there. And Ralph, for me, is the champion of that. He's our archangel. He was on the top of my Christmas tree. And he's the leader of that revolution, as I said. I'm excited to see what happens. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. Alex, you don't know what Edward was doing. So everything you said is just a presumption. There's a lot more people in charge. It wasn't all on Ed. Alex, I have seen enough evidence over a sustained period of time to say all this about Ed Woodward without it being a presumption. It's not presumption. In any way, shape, or was under his stewardship. He was the executive vice chairman. He was the man in charge at Manchester United. Matt Judge, who did he report to? Ed Woodward. Anybody inside the club below the Glazers, who did they report to? Ed Woodward. As David Lyons said when I interviewed him, Ed Woodward knocked on the door after Fergie retired. No, was it Fergie retired? Yeah, knocked on the door after Fergie retired to David Moyes and said, look, I'm replacing. No, actually, no, he knocked on Fergie's door. And then knocked on his door and said, look, I'm replacing David Gill. Going to be looking forward to working with you. Little did he know that at that point he was retiring. Woodward, I can absolutely make all these assumptions on. So if anybody's going to come on this channel to try and defend Woodward in the comments, you're not going to get much love. Joda, how you doing there? Morning, Sab. My kids were absolutely chuffed to see you said happy birthday. Well, happy birthday to them, my friend. Oh, look, it's my birthday in 11 days as well. Forgot about that. Come on. Sar, what are you saying down here? Sar, hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. All this talk from Fletcher, Jones, Richard Arnold. aren't moving us fans anymore. We want action more than this talking. We want the right things done. That's what we're waiting for, my friend. Of course. What evidence have you heard? It's all word of mouth. Woodward was the first that needs to go. I'd agree, but there's many more that need to go with him. We all know it. If Joel Glazer needs to go, Avram Glazer needs to go. Of course they do. The power structure that existed before needs to go. But mate, what do you mean? What evidence? The evidence is everything that's happened in Manchester United over the last 7 or 8 years. You look at how Manchester United have operated in the transfer market. Who was in control of all of that? Ed Woodward. What did we do wrong in the transfer market? Catastrophic mistakes in the transfer market that he was in charge of, that he gave the veto, that he gave the thumbs up on. Who gave all the big contracts to people? Who brought Alexis Sanchez in? Jeez, do you really want me to go on here? I swear on my life, man, this is not an argument you want to have. He was the sole decision maker, an autonomous, autocratic, one-person decision. Geez, it's mental. As I said, you're barking up the wrong tree here, my friend. You really are. Paul, you're saying my birthday's tomorrow. I love that Cantona 7. Oh, do you? Oh, that's very nice, Paul. Oh, I do like it too, actually. I mean, too far. I don't need to give them away. But what, Alex? What do you want? I'm not gonna mute you because you're just having a fair conversation debate. What? It's not a fucking court of law, man. I'm not going to come out here and present my Ed Woodward case and says, well, you know, on the 3rd of February, mate, come on. That's it. Done. I'm done with you, Alex. Actually, no, sod that. Let me go down here, my friend. Block user. There we go. I gave you enough time, my friend, and he kept coming back. Jesus Christ. What is this? Some sort of like, someone planted someone here, like who's Ed Woodward's who's cousin. No. I don't. Ed Woodward's innocent. I don't know what accent I just put on there. My word, people. Jesus Christ. I try and have a conversation and debate about it, but fucking hell, don't double down on the enemy. Seriously, people. Presumption. How about you look at how shit United have been for the last 7 years when he's been the guy in charge? My word. Jibak, nice to see you there this morning. Didn't think I was going to get into arguments this morning, but here we are. Jibak saying it's common knowledge that Ed played real life football manager of United. Even Joel Glazer openly said he merely approved all of. No, you need evidence, Jibak. I want dates. I want times. I want CCTV footage. I want black and white stills. That's the only thing we want here. All right. There's a comment there from Alex saying, off topic, happy birthday. Oh, mate, thank you very much, Alex. Big up to you, my friend. I'm going to have to do a little giveaway at some point. Do a little giveaway on my birthday. Why not? Hey, look, everyone's enjoying yourself down here. Look. That is powerful. Yeah, Jason, yeah, you're right. Once let me just go and get my evidence. No, I'm not going to go and get my fucking evidence. My word. People, you are funny sometimes. We all know that Ed Woodward wasn't the only problem at Manchester United, right? No one's ever said that. Was he a problem? Woo! He was a huge problem. I remember that live stream when we were covering. I was back in my old house and we were covering all the Super League stuff that was happening. Who was the man who was leading the Super League? Who was on the board of it? Was it Ed Woodward? Oh, shit. There's your evidence, mate. No, that's not evidence, though. I want court of law. I want dates, time, CCTV. Jesus, you really have distracted me. Never in my life have I, in the comments, seen anybody double down on defending Ed Woodward. I suppose you need a first for everything, don't you? You need a first for everything. That's quite funny. That's made me laugh. What else you got to talk about? Oh, yeah, Darren Fletcher. Darren Fletcher is the next conversation because so many people, me included, right? What does Darren Fletcher do? Right? No one really knew what Darren Fletcher does at Manchester United. He kind of sits there. He sometimes had the earpiece in. We're thinking, you know, what does he do? What does he do? Darren Fletcher's been speaking about it. It's nice to get a bit of clarity, I suppose, from Fletcher on what his role is inside Manchester United, because in terms of assumptions, a lot of assumptions are made about Darren Fletcher and the fact that he doesn't do anything, right? This is what Darren Fletcher said about his role. He said, with Ralph and his staff coming in and Michael and Kieran choosing to move on, we had a quick transition process. So part of my role has been to assist with that, both on the training pitch and during games. So if you're looking at, so Fletcher there basically saying, yeah, I'm directly involved in what Ralph Rangnick is doing. So, I mean, I think the confusion here about Darren Fletcher is he's down as a technical director. I think that's where the confusion really lies. Because if Darren Fletcher's job description was a first team coach, you'd be like, oh, cool. All right. I understand exactly what he's doing. But it's because he's down as a technical director. I'm not sure what he's technically directing, if I'm being honest. He goes on to speak about that a little bit more. He said, look, I'm working with Nick Cox, as head of academy to look at the long-term strategy for bringing players through. We have to manage the balance between allowing them to develop and creating the right steps for that without piling the pressure onto them. And I think here, this is the issue that we've got with Darren Fletcher. Two different quotes describing two different jobs. Number one, I'm helping Ralph Rangnick both on the training pitch and during the games. Number two, I'm working with Nick Cox, the head of the academy, to look at the long-term strategy for bringing players through. So Darren Fletcher there explaining fully that he does two completely different things at Manchester United. It probably goes to show that Ralph Rangnick probably wanted to bring one more coach in than he does have. And because he doesn't have that coach, Darren Fletcher's doing that job. Because at the same time as him doing that, he's working with Nick Cox in terms of building the process of bringing the players through into the first team. Now, Nick Cox is our head of academy. I've said this to you for quite a long time. There's been a lot of things that United have got wrong over the last 5, 6, 7 years. A lot of things. Our academy has kind of gone the other way to the first team. We've massively improved in the last 5, 6, 7 years in terms of recruitment, in terms of structure, in terms of bringing the players through. Elanga just looked ready for the first team because there's such a huge gap. Rashford looked ready, of course, too. Shame about it, but Mason Greenwood looked ready as well. There's such a huge gap between under 23s football and first team football at Manchester United. That's why loan spells are really used quite effectively. And I'll be honest, yeah, I've been really impressed by how United's academy has closed the gap because City were running away with it. They were running away with it. And it's good to see that gap has been closed. But yeah, as I explained there, you're probably looking at a bit of a confused. That's why we're so confused about Fletcher, because he's just confused us a bit more. He said, look, I work inside the academy at the same time as I work with the first team. So basically what Fletcher is saying is that I do two jobs. He's basically like the fixer man, isn't he? And I thought this was quite an interesting quote. So people will only give the one narrative about scoring from set pieces. The biggest reason Erik Ramsey was brought in was because we conceded too many from set pieces, and we have really improved in that sense. And we go over here to look at a bit of a stat. You know, Fletcher's not lying. Manchester United last season there, we were 19th in terms of goals conceded from set pieces. And as it stands, Manchester United are 6th in the rankings with only 5 goals conceded, literally half per game. So in that sense, Erik Ramsey certainly improved Manchester United's defending from set pieces. However, I absolutely refuse to believe that every single club has 2 set piece coaches, one for defending set pieces and one for attacking from them. So, yeah, Darren Fletcher's talking about the narrative whilst also giving us a narrative. Instead of going for the narrative of how shit we are from scoring from set pieces, he's going for the narrative of how good we are from defending from set pieces. So from a balanced perspective, Erik Ramsey is doing 50% of his job very well and 50% of his job absolutely abysmally. Focus on improving that. What is that? What do you think our biggest problem with corners is? I'll be interested to know what you think about that. I personally think it's more to do with the delivery than anything else. If you get in my opinion, like if you break down the percentage structure of whether or not you score from a corner or a set piece, I'd probably say it's 75% to do with the delivery. If you get a good whipped in cross that drops with pace on the 6-yard line, all somebody's got to do is get some sort of body part that's not their shoulder, or I could use a shoulder, anything to steer it goalwards, and using the pace of the cross, you basically scored. It's not always about like an incredible header right into the top corner off the crossbar. Nobody can reach it. They come every so often, but it's all about the crossing. And I suppose it's the same with Manchester United actually playing as an aggressive team too. The crossing's been poor. If our crossing had been better this year, Ronaldo would have had a bucket load more goals. He would have done. So I think our crossing is probably the biggest issue we've got with our corners, which technically isn't really Eric Ramsey's fault, right? He doesn't. As a set piece coach, it's all about you can deliver it in, man. But the whipped cross that actually, no, was it an outer? No, it was an innie cross, wasn't it? For Maguire's against Leeds, I think it was. It was Shaw. I think it was Maguire. But look, let me know what you think about that in the comments, everybody. We've got 10 minutes here. We'll wrap it up. Ask me any questions you want. We'll do a little Q&A if you want at the end of this video. I'm going to try and start doing them on Instagram. Some Q&A sessions, some more informal chats. I'm going to be doing a couple of live videos over on the Instagram page for over the next week. So make sure you follow me for those. Instagram.com/United People's TV. And if you join in tomorrow from about, I reckon, 12 p.m. till 2 p.m., I'm going to be detailing all the evidence against Ed Woodward so I can take it to the court of law because I need evidence. So I'm going to get all the CCTV footage of all the shit that he's done. I'm going to lay it all down with dates and times so it works. Okay, so make sure you don't miss out that 2 hours of pure Ed Woodward evidence. That's honestly one of the funniest things I think that's ever happened on these live stream. Never in my life did I think I would have to explain truly why Ed Woodward is the ultimate criminal at Manchester United. But hey, it's a precedent. You need new things, right? Let me go down here. Gary, you could put the ball on our forward's head 6 yards out. They'd still miss at the moment. Jeez, bro, I wish I could disagree with you there, Gary. But Manchester United's finishing everywhere, man. Whether it's headers, whether it's left foot, right foot, inside the box, outside the box, easy chance, hard chance. Bruno Fernandes has missed open goals. Cristiano Ronaldo's missed open goals. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But what I do know is at some point between now and the end of the season, we're pumping someone like 5-6-0. I thought it was going to happen earlier than I thought it would have already happened by now. It hasn't quite, but at some point, it's probably not going to be in the next few games, is it? Because against City, against Spurs, against Atletico at home, and against Liverpool away, we're not going to be creating 92 shots. We're going to have, realistically, against City on Sunday, like 3 or 4 top-class chances. And that's if we play well. 3 or 4 or 5. So we've got to have like a conversion rate, a high conversion rate to come out with 3 points from that game, considering that City are definitely going to score. We're going to have to score 2 to win. If we're going to get 5 chances, it means we're going to have a 40% conversion rate. And our conversion rate right now is not 40%. Creighton, good question down there. I like that one. Sam, I'm reading a lot about James Garner. Is he worth the hype or just another Darren Gibson? He's definitely not another Darren Gibson. He's not that sort of player. He's got a bit more technical guile to his game, a bit more craft to his game, a little bit better at controlling the football game. Darren Gibson, random. He played in the Champions League semi-final against Schalke. Fun fact. I remember that. We got through to the final. Who knew? And I think, was Ralph Rangnick manager of that? I think he might have been. I can't remember. Might have been. Varun, what are you saying down here? Rangnick has been very good till now. There is evidence of a plan, an identity, and a style of play. But it is too late for us to finish in the top 4. I personally think I do personally agree that the top 4 is probably out of our reach now. But I also feel that Manchester United are just capable of just cutting the shit from our games. It's not as if we got hope for a miracle right now. All the moment we need is better finishing. It's the only thing that's missing from our football. That might be different against City. Might be different against Liverpool, where we get exposed against much better opposition. We're going to have to play a little bit more disciplined, a bit more grit, be a battle. But we did that battle away at Atletico after what was probably the worst 45-minute team performance. Darren Bradley asking how the under-19s got on last night. I did watch the last 20 minutes or so. Unfortunately for them, they lost to Borussia Dortmund on penalties. They scored the first penalty, and then bizarrely, I'm not sure if you managed to watch it, Dortmund scored their second penalty, but because the player slipped on the ball and touched it with both feet, it went down as a miss. So it was United scored, Dortmund scored, and Dortmund were taking the penalties first. Dortmund scored, then United equalised, and then Dortmund missed their second penalty because they had a double touch. But then I think, was it Hannibal? Was Hannibal second or third? Anyway, we missed 3 penalties in a row. And then it was game, set, and match. And I can't remember his name, but the player who scored twice for Dortmund came and he scored the winning penalty. Well played to Dortmund. They sort of deserved it over the 90 minutes, but United were pretty good. Hannibal, I like watching Hannibal play. I'm not sure about you. Fernandes, I tell you what, for our left back, Fernandez, very physical player for his side, for his age. Looks very just ready. You know what I mean? Garnacho, I always like watching Garnacho, Alejandro Garnacho. He was doing it for the under 18s as well in the FA Youth Cup, and he looked pretty good there yesterday. But it was unlucky for them, all right? But they're out of the competition now. Let's go down here. Anthony, another question down in the comments. What do you think the chances of Ronaldo continuing to play with Ronaldo? Junior. Slim to... what do you mean? Like him being in the squad for long enough that Ronaldo Jr. comes in? Don't know. But I'm looking forward to the days when it's Ronaldo Jr. and Rooney Jr. up front for United. That'll be a good day. Matt, nice to see you there, buddy. You're saying, hi, Sam. How do you think Ten Hag will fare against the likes of Klopp and Pep? We can't go for an inferior manager again. No, we cannot. And we know that. It's what everyone's been banging on about. And that, for me, is why I believe Ten Hag is the right man. Pochettino, he could be that man. But I think Ten Hag, all I can explain it as is that curve, the managerial curve. Like, where's their career been? Where's their career going? Ten Hag's has just been like a steady upward slope like that. Poch has sort of like had his slope, gone down it. And he's at PSG, and it's not exactly gone up at PSG, is it? I wouldn't say it's gone off the map completely, but it's not gone up at PSG. And I personally just think that Ten Hag, the next few years, it's just going to be like that. And I want Manchester United to be the club where he does that with. And I've made that very, very clear. Hey, but look, I'll wrap it up now because I've still got a bit of packing to do before I get the taxi to the airport. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining in today. As I said, thank you very much to that troll who tried to defend Ed Woodward. I think we all needed a laugh this morning. I think we all got our laughs in. So big up to you, my friend. I'll send you the evidence in the post. But look, I'll be gone for next week. As I said, I'm going to Vegas. Sod knows what's going to happen there. I might never come back. You never know. I'll post it one more time. I'm not going to be doing many or any live videos out there. I'm not sure. I might be, if I can, I'll try and do one live video. I don't know when or where because it's 8 hours behind down there. But that's my Instagram account down there. That's the United People's TV Instagram account. I'll be putting some of my travels on there, all right? And I'll be doing some live videos on there. So if you want some live videos, make sure you follow me on there. Big up to all of you. Thank you very much for Gungshi. I appreciate that, my friend. There you go. There you go, buddy. Liam, I'll try and get it posted before. I apologize if I don't, but I promise you it will come, sir. But thank you very much. Anthony, don't have fun, don't get married. I'm not going to be doing that again. Jesus. And Rochelle, thank you very much, saying enjoy it. Look, I'll be here with a match reaction. You know what the mad thing is? This is going to be pretty mental. There's only one big night I've got planned out in Vegas. And on the Saturday night, there's a huge UFC fight. I've managed to get tickets for it. Can't wait to see that. It's, who is it? Masvidal against Covington. It's going to be a hell of a fight. But Man City kicks off against United at 8:30 on Sunday morning. It's going to be an enjoyable match reaction, that one. Well, it's not going to be a very good game. But anyway, big up to all of you. Much love. I'll be back in a week, but I'll be there on Instagram and on Twitter anyway. But much love. And make sure you check that. I've got plenty of videos coming out, but no live videos. So just make sure you still watch the videos. Much love to all of you. Take it easy.